So here it is, about 4 months out from hiking the Tahoe Rim Trail. And I was just thinking about all the logistics that it takes to make this trip happen. This is Chad's Adventures. We bring you the beauty of the places we go to, but we also bring you the information on what it takes to get there. So there's 4 of us that are going. Pollyanna, Clover, and Slider. So the 4 of us have hiked together before. If you look at any of the backpacking playlists, you'll see some of the trips that we've taken. And we all are needing to meet up in Reno. So the first thing we had to do was agree on start dates, and then taking into consideration the altitude, how far in advance we want to get there to try to acclimate. The plans are still coming together, but I got a flight with Southwest for the sole purpose that they're pretty flexible on return date. Next thing you kind of have to work through is where to start on the trail. Tahoe Rim Trail does go about 170 miles in a loop around Lake Tahoe. So at some time or another you will probably stop in the cities of Tahoe City or South Lake Tahoe. So we are considering starting on the east side of the lake. The main reason for that is it allows us a little better opportunity for acclimation, and if something goes wrong, the east side of the trail is a little easier to get into town if you have to. The other things you have to think about on this trail is the water sources. The east side of the trail shoot pretty much just after Mount Rose down to Kingsbury. That area is pretty crazy, and there's a campground you're required to stay in within the Nevada State Park, and that campground usually has a pump for water, but it broke last year, so I'll have to find out whether or not that's functional this year. So the water in that area, you may end up having to do a very long water carry or set up a water cache somewhere near Spooner Summit, or be willing to take a few extra miles off the trail to get water. The other area of concern is on the west side of the lake after you get past Watson Lake and before you get closer to Relay and Mount Rose. The water is limited. So that's another area that we're considering setting up a water drop, and that's at Brockway Summit. Some other things that we have to decide on as a team is if we want to slack pack anywhere. There are basically 2 definite spots you could slack pack. There's a 16.5 mile slack pack between Spooner Summit and Tramway Market, and there's another one between Big Meadow Trailhead and Echo Summit Trailhead, or even Echo Lake Trailhead. Big days, but again, slack packing. The other thing I'm learning early on is if you get up towards the Mount Rose campground, that is a reservable campsite, but they do have some that are left first come, first serve. So even 4 months in advance right now, those reserved sites are already taken. You can go to reservation.gov and look at that. But the first come, first serve, the only thing I'm worried about on that is if you get there late in the day, you may be out of luck. And then your only option at that point is to get a hitch or a shuttle into Incline Village, or maybe even back to Reno. So things to think about. We still need to figure out where we're going to stay when we do go into town. We do plan, if we start on the east side, to take a 0 day in Tahoe City. So I know things can be pretty expensive, so we'll see what we can work out. On the east side of the lake, there is a hostel. It's Mellow Mountain Hostel, and that is $39 a person with tax. And you basically are in a 4-room bunk. So that would work out perfect for us because we have 4 in our group. And there are restrooms and showers within the bunk room. So that's kind of nice. We're looking at that very close. I think we need to reserve. If you cancel your reservation, you lose 20% of it, but it might still be worth getting that locked down. You can actually do this trail with the Tahoe Rim Trail Association. They have a lottery system, basically, or a sign-up system. You have to catch it at the right time if you want to pay some money, a couple $1,000s to have it guided and have nice drop-offs for fresh food and things like that. So another thing to consider. We have decided not to do that. So if I had to summarize what it's like preparing to go to hike the Tahoe Rim Trail, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. A lot of things we have to figure out. We got to make sure we know where we're getting our food and that kind of thing, where we're staying, where we're going to get water, and how we're going to get around when we're in towns. Though they do have a nice bus system in both Tahoe City and in South Lake Tahoe that is free. So lots of things to learn and get familiar with. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see where we end up. I'll keep you in the loop. There's been a lot of planning going on in my house. We're a couple weeks out for the Utah 20-day trip for the Utah Mighty 5 and all the places in between. And then after getting back a couple of months later, getting onto the Tahoe Rim Trail. I am looking forward to all of this activity. I'm ready to go. So if you want to see how it goes, follow along and join us on this adventure that we have going on this year.